Gotcha, bitch!
Welcome to the realm of all possibilities. Now I know what you must be asking yourself. Why is it so dark? Well, if we're in a state of so-called nothingness, then the only thing that is left is to create whatever and anything you want. So now that you're here, let me ask you this. Are you afraid of the dark, or are you just blinded by the light? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Solar Systems, where we help you understand the system your soul goes into. This is Moon Days with Michael. I'm your host, the Royal Archangel Michael, and I am cutting out the esoteric middleman and giving you the tools you need to connect yourself right to the source. Now, today's video, if you might have guessed by the intro and the title, we're talking about light versus dark. Now, these two topics of conversation have been often misunderstood, and one is more associated with evil intentions than it should be, okay? So, that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, before we get into this, we need to actually explain what is the light and what is the dark. So, without further ado, let's hop into it. So let's start off with the light, the realm we are currently living in, or the conscious realm, the realm of your physical body, or the yang. So think about what light does. It illuminates, right? But it's also created by what? Fire, aka your vision. So light has to do with the things you can see and the visions you are creating. But we need to make something very clear here. How do you create a vision? Where does it come from? Where does light even come from? Well, before there was light, there was darkness, aka the realm of all possibilities. With there being no light, and with there being technically nothing, the only thing that's left is to do what? Create something. So, with that being said, we need to talk about a couple of things. One, why do people often associate darkness with something being negative or evil? And why do people associate light with being positive and benevolent? We also are going to talk about light workers and dark workers, as well as visions and the light blinding you, as well as the realm of all possibilities. So, let's hop into the nitty-gritty of it and start talking about light and dark. Now let's talk about light. Light is, as we said before, vision. It illuminates. But here's what you have to understand. If you were to look up at the sun, what would happen? You'd be blinded. You wouldn't be able to see clearly. You look away, it might take a couple of minutes for your vision to return to normal. But here's the thing. Imagine of you just staring at the sun forever. You'd be blinded all the time. This is the problem with light, is that it blinds. Now, a lot of the times when people come down here to Earth, in this incarnation, they talk about being light workers, right? People who work with the light to help bring a better experience to others. But there's a problem here. You're working with the light, but I have a couple of questions for you. First of all, who created that light? What vision are you following? What vision are you teaching? You see, the problem here is that when we're talking about light, a lot of people don't create their own light. They're using the tools and visions created by other people. Now, don't get me wrong. This might seem like it works for you. Your life might seem more fulfilling. Your life might seem more full. But eventually, we come across a problem here. Take a second and think of what that problem might be. Do you have an answer? It's okay if you don't. The problem here is that when we're talking about light and light workers working with visions and giving people the tools to make other people's lives more fulfilling in a sense, the problem is that what have they created themselves? You see, the whole point of what we do here at Solar Systems is to give you the tools to consciously experience what you want, as well as to cut out the esoteric middleman. But if you're constantly working with the light, you haven't created anything. You're working with light, visions, experiences that have already been here before you. So do you see the problem? Eventually, your spirit's going to come across a problem, and that is of not creating anything. Do this for a long enough period of time, and what will happen? You'll keep coming back here, more lost, more blinded than before, because you haven't created anything. Now this is where the darkness comes in. A lot of light workers will talk about shadow work and internal work, dealing with the things that you've repressed, dealing with the things that go behind closed doors, the eighth house. Now, I don't know if you can see, but I have doors all around me. It might be off camera, but they're there. Light workers like to teach about your shadow side, doing shadow work, the things you've repressed, internal work. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. However, when it comes to creating a vision and experience, the best way to do that is to focus on the darkness, the realm of all possibilities. Remember, if nothing's there, then there's only one thing left to do, and that is to create something that wasn't there before. Now, what this leads you to do is a couple of things. One, if there's nothing there, there's no light around you, nothing has been blinding you, there's no visions, experiences getting in your way, with there seemingly being nothing, you are free to then look into yourself and ask yourself the question of, what do I want to experience?
Do it!
You see, the darkness is not a realm to be feared. A lot of people will say that when they come across a being cloaked in blackness and shadow, it's dark, there's seemingly no form to it. I say good. You see, you are a being with no shape, no form. You create a form for you down here. I might have this physical body, but am I really the body? Now let's start looking at how these two energies interact together instead of separate things. We know what the light does. It illuminates. It's vision. The darkness is the realm of all possibilities. Nothing, no thing, no shape and form. So what happens when you put them together? Well, on one side, you have a completely unique vision. You have a direction to experience the things that you consciously want, which is why when you take your desires from the realm of all possibilities and you bring it into this realm, it's yours. You must bring the things from the dark into the light in order to experience them. Isn't that the whole point of existence? Here's the problem. Now, if you remember anything about Lucifer, right? The light bringer, the morning star, Lucifer, son of the morning, whatever you want to call him. What happened there? What went wrong? Well, if you know anything about him, then you'll know that his light was so bright that it started to blind other spirits. They were following his vision, reflecting that back to him, and resulting in him being caught up in his own vision, being lost. And other spirits were lost. So when it comes down to light versus dark, we need to understand two things. One, the dark is nothing to be feared. It's where you can draw your most potential from. The purest form of your visions come from the dark. And two, be careful of people who preach about love and light. Now, there's nothing wrong with people saying they're light workers. Those people are needed, right? However, the only one thing I can say is don't be blinded. And from that statement comes one thing you need to know. Awareness. Having the awareness to know when you're blinded. When you're following something you shouldn't be, and when you're following something for no reason. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys liked that video. Talking about light versus dark and why the darkness should not be feared. Instead, it is the realm of which your purest visions and your greatest way of creating things you want to experience come from. If you guys want to stay in touch with our daily alignments, Instagram's down below. We post that every day. Make sure you guys leave a like down below, a comment talking about what you guys want us to talk about next. We'd really love to hear from you. Now, I leave you with the same question I asked in the beginning of this video. Are you afraid of the dark, or are you blinded by the light? Fly high, y'all.